All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whichever part of the world you're joining us live here at Cobden People's Parliament. We'll be making some very honest submission in respect to the coalition of the ADC as well as the potential presidential candidates that are looking forward to emerging from the coalition in person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Peter Obi, and several others who are eyeing the presidential spots of the ADC. Let me start with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has contested, first and foremost, he was the vice presidential uh, candidates who also emerged alongside President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 until the year 2006, where they conducted an election that brought in President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. The reality on ground is that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has contested for the post of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for the past 6 times since the year 1992. Of course, the child that was given birth in the year 1992 by now is already a mother or a father. Let's tell ourselves the bitter truth. Except we want to fail collectively, it's high time to look at the obvious reality and the analysis I'm going to be bringing so that everyone can look at it objectively. Even if you don't agree with me, you agree with uh, the analysis I'm going to make in just a jiffy. First and foremost, I'm Mr. Christian Nature, and unapologetic obedience, right? I stand for it not because of the name Obi alone, but because of the ideology behind the movement, the ideology that keeps me driving, as well as other several millions of Nigerians who are even unreached, unknown. They are obedient in their respective quarters and they are adding value to the movement. So I am one of them. Uh, Having put that straight, I want to speak objectively, looking into 2027, looking into the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in terms of past antecedents and current trajectory in the political circle, and what is the chance ahead of 2027. I'll look at this holistically. First, 6 times serial loser, the person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, can't make any difference against Tinubu APC for the following reasons. One, integrity. Integrity. Integrity is not something you can buy overnight. No matter how wealthy you are, you cannot trade integrity. You can't buy it overnight in the hearts of millions of Nigerians and the global community. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has no proven integrity records to outsmart Tinubu in 2027. He doesn't have that. And these are things that you cannot buy overnight, like I said earlier. Integrity is very key in the ability to be able to dampen the morale of Tinubu followers, the Rono circle. Only integrity can dampen their morale in terms of having to be able to swing into action and win or steal votes as they usually do against any vibrant opposition. So integrity is something that is lacking. The generality of Nigeria across the 6 geopolitical zone cannot vouch on Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's integrity, not even from his own northeastern region, that can vouch for him for having a high integrity in terms of anti-corruption, in terms of keeping to its words, in terms of state supremacy over any other godfather whatsoever. So integrity is something you cannot buy overnight. And Alhaji Atiku Abubakar doesn't seem to have that edge over Tinubu in terms of integrity. That being said, let me go to item number 2, electoral record. Electoral record. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has no electoral value greater than Tinubu in 2027. This is just blunt reality. He cannot run election against Tinubu and win, hands down, in 2027. I mean, counting on his own credibility or political relevance put together, he doesn't have that electoral record to be able to put any realistic fights against Bola Tinubu when it comes to free, fair, and credible election. You cannot achieve that across Nigeria. So, number 3, money politics, which is very obvious in Nigerian politics. Money plays a very crucial role. When we talk about money politics goes beyond the financial capacity of the aspirant alone. Money politics goes beyond those within the circle of any presidential candidates running for election. Money politics goes as far as the fans, the grassroots cult followers at the respective community. How many of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's loyalists today will be able to outspend Tinubu when it comes to canvassing or mobilization across rural communities? How many of Alhaji Abubakar, court followers can actually do that? Does it have the spread when it comes to each different geopolitical zones? I don't really see that coming. So money politics is key, and in terms of who has the ability to spend even more on political structure, I don't see Alhaji Atiku Abubakar outspending Tinubu, for instance, which he doesn't even have any better credibility than Tinubu, right? So this is another side. Now, when you look at it, you say you have to think twice. Number 4, cult followership. Cult followership. When we say cult followership, let me disabuse your mind. It's not a secret cult or whatsoever that may come to your mind. Cult followership in this instance, in this context, has to do with chain supporters that have acclimatized themselves with this notion that they so much believe in their candidacy, in the candidacy of their respective political leader. In terms of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, it doesn't have that cult followership when you spread it across the 6 geopolitical zone, not even in the northeast where he comes from. He doesn't have that cult followership. A group of majority who will see credibility in what he is capable of doing and will decide to say, to hell with whatever buyouts or sellouts, that I'll stick to this candidate. He doesn't have that cult followership. So that is one thing that every other person that is advocating for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar need to think twice about. Cult followership is very key in any attempt to unseat Bola Tinubu in 2027. Zoning, that is item number 5, zoning. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar have been known for aspiring for presidential office since 1999 till date. He has always been around the circle of the presidency. He contested since 1992 until 2003. How can you be a serial contestant? You never respected any zoning arrangement of any political party you belong to. You never respected it as a PDP member. And now you are even while you are in APC, you did not respect it. You contested against Buhari. You contested against now you contested against Tinubu, and you still intend to go ahead and contest in 2027, which will now make it the seventh time of running for office. Despite 2023 being an unwritten law that is dedicated for southern Nigeria to produce the presidential flag bearer for all political parties. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has failed to respect it in 2023, which led to Obi's withdrawal from the PDP, right? And now here we are again in another quagmire, the ADC coalition. Now, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is still coming out wanting to be presidential flag bearer of the party. I mean, making the seventh time. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is over 80 years already. At this stage, there is no moral sentiment behind fighting heavily to unseat Tinubu and replace him with another old guard, right? They have been in the villa before, which we are not even impressed. We are not seeing any visible reason why we should even fight for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to return back to the villa. There's no convincing reasons why the young Nigerians will sweat it out on the ballot box, sweat it out across the communities using their for instance, for presidency in 2027. There is no moral latitude to carry out such tedious assignments, trying to replace old Tinubu with old Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is from a Fulani tribe, for instance, where people already say that Buhari, being a Fulani man, having left office in just 2023, then another Fulani coming on board again. There is no moral justification to carry on such fights and insisting on winning under such tickets. That's just the reality. I'm being very blunt here. Then number 6. So, okay, still talking about the zoning. Atiku has no record of respecting zoning, like I said earlier, and Southerners are more likely to manage Tinubu failure. Are we getting that scope now? Southerners are more likely to manage Tinubu failure than to hand over to another Fulani, given the current Christian genocide and all forms of terror attacks and insecurity and the born to rule mentality of the Fulanis. This all put together is another red flag standing against Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So number 6, to make it very fast, national structure. National structure. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar lacks the national appeal to win against Tinubu. Even in the Northwest, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar doesn't command the cult followership that is needed in order to be able to put up a very reasonable, challenging fight of the ballots against Tinubu that is already sitting in Asura. Number 7, youth aspirations. If you sample the opinion of the young people across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country and beyond, and even in the diaspora, the young people have a different aspiration. They have a different mindset. They are tired of any name that they have heard before. That is the reality. The young people are tired of any familiar politicians that have no good record. The young people are not interested in seeing you on the ballot box. Whether you come in through the coalition or you go ahead and declare your own different political party, so long as you belong to the old guard, the young people have no moral latitude to put up a fight to remove Tinubu and replace with another old guard. Simple. The Nigerian youths Attard, or the old guards, which Atiku belongs. Of what sense does it make to use my money and campaign against Tinubu and install Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, an old Fulani man? I mean, does it make sense? We are talking about change that will have impact on the welfare of the generality of this country. Then I use my money, my finances, even go as far as even borrowing, just to produce a check carrying Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's face. I mean, against, in attempt to unseat Tinubu. Does that make sense? As a young person, this you have to think about. And of course, it's an open advice for the ADC. If they so like, they should take it. If they don't like, they should throw it to the trash can. We will have a life after 2027, and we will all see the outcome. Number 8, governor's defection. This one is very obvious. Governor's defection. As you are all aware, almost all PDP governors have defected to the APC. And what bell does that ring? For a candidate that is always banking on the governor's support to be able to win presidential election, for instance. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has never contested any election without a sitting governor in his support. He has always enjoyed the overwhelming support of PDP governors in previous elections. And now going into 2027, the same PDP governors have all left the PDP and they have moved into the APC. Then given his record in the PDP where it was acclaimed that he destroyed, that's Alhaji Atiku Abubakar destroyed the PDP, all the fragmented relationships there have its own ripple effects on the support or otherwise that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar will get from this government. So all these dots put together, it has a very huge red flag against Alhaji Atiku Abubakar aspiration for 2027. Atiku depends heavily on governor support in previous elections. Now that PDP governors have all defected to the APC, where is his strong base? This is a question for all of us to ponder on. Where is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's strong base? Only PO can pull over 10 million votes without any governor stealing a vote for him. It's on record. He got over 6 million votes in 2003 without a sitting governor standing in gap to support him. All from where? The young people, the youths across different tribes, different geopolitical zones came together and said enough is enough. We want change. A change that will have a positive effect on the people, which led to the tsunami that we experienced in 2003 to the extent that the APC ruling party had to instruct Mahmoud Yakubu to switch off the IRF, to switch off the IRF because they could not guarantee the victory of the APC, given the tone of results they saw coming out from different parts of the country. So, with the current abysmal performance of the APC and the overwhelming failure of the APC Tinubu-led administration, it is very glaring that the only candidates among the opposition circle that can stand Tinubu anytime, any day, still remains His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. Simple, there is no sentiment about it. I am Idoma by tribe, I'm from Benue State, obedient, no doubt about it. But I've been able to approach this matter very clear and blunt, irrespective of whoever feels offended. I'm unapologetic about it. I'm being very truthful and very straightforward from what is very obvious and every other person can see. So PO can pull over 10 million votes without any governor stealing a vote from him. He said in 2003, don't steal a vote from me. Just go and cast your vote, not because you are voting for me as an Igbo man, but vote based on character, competency, capacity, credibility, compassion, the 5C. So these are the things that Pio has always emphasized. So given what is happening and the position figures are being picked up by EFCC, by the Tinubu-led administration as the only weapon to weaken the coalition of the ADC. You saw how El-Rufai was picked up, he was questioned. You saw how Malami is currently going through it in the hands of the EFCC. So, what gives you the assurance that if, for instance, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is handled the ticket of the ADC, will he not be invited by the EFCC to come and give account of his involvement in certain government funds that pass through his table? This is a question that demands an answer. We should all ponder over this. So, the above may sound too harsh, but those are the silent thoughts of Nigerians. As we look forward to 2027, ADC winning or losing is in their hands. ADC, the winning or the losing is in our hands because I'm also a stakeholder in the ADC. I will be here to ask you how markets. Yes, I'll be here to ask how did it go after the election in 2007? Should ADC continue to play the devil's advocate, not listening to Nigerian yearnings, and respecting zoning? So below is a high-level, thoughtful, and ethical strategic framework an opposition coalition could use to competitively challenge Tinubu APC in the year 2007, Nigeria general elections. It focuses on governance issues, voter engagement, and institutional credibility, not misinformation, violence, or voter suppression. One, build a united opposition, non-negotiable. A united opposition is a message that's going out to all opposition stakeholders, political parties, opinion shapers. This goes out to all of us, including social media advocates, influencers. This advice goes out to all of us. Problem: fragmented opposition guarantees APC victory. If oppositions are fragmented, flying under different political parties, it makes the work a bit easier for APC. One consensus presidential candidate. One consensus presidential candidate. If we are truthful to ourselves, we don't need primaries for ADC coalition. Because if you look at the antecedents of the APC in the year 2014, they came together in the round table and told themselves the truth. Alhaji Muhammadu Buhari of late memory, he had no money to run for election. But he has the strict credibility, the masses appeal, as at that time. There was no any other presidential candidate that had the cult followership as Muhammadu Buhari. I was one of the fans that canvassed and campaigned for Muhammadu Buhari in the year 2014, given the lack of action of President Goodluck Jonathan to counter the rising insurgency as at that time. That was the only reason I supported Muhammadu Buhari, given the rhetoric that is very tough and can tackle insecurity. That being said, that was what they did. They arrived at a consensus. They did not look at who had the money. If it is based on who had the money, Bola Ahmed Tinubu would have stepped forward. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu used his money to fund the APC. and hand the presidential ticket to President Muhammadu Buhari, right? So Atiku Abubakar can also be a hero in this case if he can support the ADC structural building efforts and support His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi to step forward and campaign, given that he is the zoning formula for the southern Nigeria. There's nothing bad about it. But then, ego is a problem. Pride goes before the fall of man. Number two, candidate selection. What are the criteria that we should look at as opposition in selecting a candidate? One, credibility over sentiment. Credibility over sentiment. You don't necessarily need to love the presidential candidate. You don't necessarily need to love him. You look at the credibility. Is it the one that can achieve the new Nigeria that we are yearning for? Or is it the one that you have doubts over his ability to effectually tackle the Nigerian crisis, the Nigerian problem? Here we are, languishing in insecurity. The candidate you have in mind, is it the one that can truly tackle insecurity? If we cannot truly tackle this insecurity, this growing genocide, this terrorism, destabilizing this country, then there is no need to waste your energy around him. Because whether you like it or not, we are all victims in the circle of insecurity, in the general spectrum. Because insecurity affects farmers, which lead to what? Shortages of food, and thereby leading to what? The general hunger that we are facing today. It affects siting of industry in the environment where there is insecurity. There is no reasonable investor that will come into that country to come and invest. So directly, our people are suffering from what? Unemployment, which affects us directly, and is going to continue to affect our children, generations to come. Are you getting the implication now? This is the reason why you don't necessarily need to like or love the presidential candidate, because it's not your husband. Neither is he your wife. He's just there to perform the role of governance. So is he having the credibility to perform? If the answer is yes, you know what next to do. Winning candidate must, one, be young, energetic, and medically fit. Yes, any candidate that must unseat Tinubu must be young, must be energetic, must be physically fit, medically fit. If he's not physically fit, if he's not medically fit, if he's not energetic, he's not young, he's looking old, struggling to walk, the young people will not support him. That's the truth of the matter. This is bitter truth. You don't need to like my face. I'm just being very blunt about it. Two, how long corruption baggage? If a candidate, for instance, is having a very long corruption baggage, it makes the work easier for Tinubu. He may even allow him to run and do all the campaign and everything, maybe some weeks to election. EFCC will invite him for questioning, from questioning to detention, from detention to court, from court to prison. What are we going to say at that point? So, for us to support any candidate, that candidate must have low corruption baggage. Simple as that. Low corruption baggage. Otherwise, we will end up wasting our efforts. Malami is currently under questioning of the EFCC. So it can happen to anybody, so long as your hands are not clean. Appeal across North-South Muslim Christian lines. He must be a candidate that have a considerable appeal, acceptance across North-South Muslim Christian lines. This is very critical because Nigeria has been polarized by religious sentiment. So, he must be a candidate that appeal to both North, South, Christians, and Muslim Nigerians across board. Communicate clearly on economy and security. That's another one. For us to support any candidate for 2027, that candidate must have the prowess, the sagacity to be able to communicate his economic and security agenda very clear without any ambiguity. This is not era of you come and give us empty promises. You must be able to explain in clear terms how you achieve economy, how you achieve security. There should be no ambiguity. Any candidate that will have the overwhelming support of the masses must be able to, without looking at book, without reading a prepared speech, to be able to give a clear economic plan for the country and a clear security plan for the country. Simple as that. What should we avoid? One, recycling candidates with repeated electoral losses. Any candidates that have been having repeated electoral losses, this one goes automatically to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He has contested and lost 6 times. What's the need pushing him forward to go and lose for the 7th time? It doesn't make sense, right? When you continue to feature a player in a match, he keeps losing. You put him against Barca, he lost woefully, he could not score a goal. You put him against Inter Milan, he could not score a goal. You feature him against Manchester United of all clubs, still he could not score a goal. You say, okay, you feature him against Arsenal, expecting at least he should be able to score one. Yet, he left without scoring a goal. You feature him against Nasarawa United, he could not score a goal. What can give you the confidence that the same player will be able to score a goal in the World Cup? I mean, as a reasonable coach, will you invite such player to your country to come and lead your striker going into the World Cup 2026? This is a blunt reality. So, recycling candidates that are repeated failure is not ideal for the coalition. Imposing candidates without grassroots buy-in. If the leadership of the coalition feel they have the power to just come together, a few of them, maybe 5 or 6 or 10 number, come together and decide who emerge as presidential candidate without considering the feelers of the country, without considering the buy-in of the grassroots, that candidate will fail. It's not by collecting thousands of naira, millions of naira, millions of, billions of naira. I think maybe handling such candidates with the primary tickets to go ahead and lead the party will bring about victory in 2027. I call it fa. Any primary election, if they go ahead with it, as is being speculated, and there is rain of dollar, buying of delegates, to emerge as ADC presidential candidates, that candidate will fail from 2027. It will fail because you cannot buy love. Love is something that comes on its own. You can't buy it no matter how you want to impress. You can get fake love, but you cannot get real love. The real love is what speaks in a secret ballot system. The fake love will be obvious in an open ballot system. But in the secret ballot system that Nigerian practices, that is where the real love is. So you cannot achieve victory in a secret ballot system through a dubious primaries for the ADC coalition. Number 3, clear national narrative. Clear national narrative. The national narrative hinges on competence versus hardship. Competence versus hardship. From 2027, as a referendum on performance, not personality. A referendum on performance, not personality. Core message pillars. Cost of living crisis. Fuel, food, transportation. These three things are killing Nigerians on a daily basis. As a matter of fact, Nigerians are battling every day with the crisis of what to eat. Cost of living crisis, fuel, food, transport. This has to be a very core message pillar for any potential presidential candidate. Naira stability and unemployment. Nigerians are unemployed. What's the message? How do you intend to mop out people from unemployment into the productive sector? How do you intend to move Nigeria from consumption to production? Your message as a presidential candidate must be very clear in this regard. Otherwise, sorry to say, it's a waste of energy going into general election. Insecurity, banditry, kidnapping, terrorism, genocide, these are different layers of insecurity in Nigeria. Your message as a presidential candidate must be very clear, free from vague and unambiguity. It must be very clear on how you want to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. Governance failure and elite disconnect. The elites in this country have been disconnected from the masses for so long. As a matter of fact, the middle class have been crushed by the Tinubu and Buhari and the Tinubu-led administration. They have crushed the middle class. As it is now, it's either you are rich in Nigeria or you are extremely poor. That is the situation we are living in this country. So, as a potential presidential candidate for the coalition, your message in this regard must be very, very clear. Simple framing. Nigerians are poorer, less secure, and more divided than before. So, as a presidential candidate, you have to look into this. Nigerians are more poorer, less secure, and more divided than ever. As a presidential candidate, for the past 30 years, for the past 20 years, for the past 10 years, in short, since 2003, what have you been doing for the masses to guarantee you having a special place in their hearts, such that they could support you with their energy? What have you been doing? Have you been seen on the streets, going from school to school, from healthcare to healthcare, from community to community, providing help for the masses? Or you are just sitting in the comfort of your home in Dubai or in any part of the world waiting for the next election cycle so that you come and flash dollars on your face? Anyway, the outcome is there waiting for all of us. Number 4, grassroots mobilization, not social media noise. APC strength is structure. APC have structure. Opposition must out-organize APC. How do we out-organize them? By having a more concrete structure down to the polling units. Having a more organic, energetic structure that will be well equipped with facts in terms of credibility, capacity, competency, compassion, and capacity to be able to represent their grassroots, their locality, their communities in the scheme of things. So, actions. What are the actions that need to be taken? Word by word structures. In all 774 local government areas of Nigeria, there must be representative, a sound representative of structure that will be viable enough to be able to win the election. Another strategy again is door-to-door voter engagement. This structure have to set up structures down to the grassroots that will engage in door-to-door, moving from one locality to another, ensuring that people are sensitized on the logo, on the vision, mission of the presidential candidate as well as the party. Yes, all these have to be detailed and narrowed, watered down to the grassroots. Massive PVC collection and voter education drive. Currently, there is an ongoing PVC registration across Nigeria. All presidential candidates that intend to win elections should be seen driving this narrative, encouraging Nigerians to register for PVC. Because the moment the votes overwhelm the rigging plan, it will not be rigged. It will become so difficult for any foolish politician, for any foolish electoral officer to attempt rigging when the evidence is overwhelming. So we have to target at least a minimum of 50 million votes ahead of 2027. Yes, it's possible. It's doable. It's achievable. If we are courageous enough to take this a personal fight and take it out to the streets. Elections are won at polling units, not Twitter spaces. Yes, it's a fact. Notwithstanding, we have to connect with the international community, the diaspora community of Nigerians. But that should not be the only yardstick for mobilization. The actual mobilizations must be taken down to the grassroots. So every potential presidential candidate must be interested in funding his political structure. The political structure must be funded, adequately organized, because you are fighting against a very crooked ruling party in terms of Tinubu-led APC. So you have to fund your political structure efficiently. This is possible when there is collaboration. All the financial load must not be on the presidential candidate, but he must be seen to be leading from the front. Elections are won at polling units, not on Twitter spaces. So we must narrow down the narrative, take it to the grassroots in our engagement. Number 5, youths and first-time voters strategy. There are a couple of young Gen Z generations that have never voted. They don't even have PVC. As a matter of fact, they don't even know the need to engage in voting. So it behoves on opposition leaders to oil the wheel of these grassroots mobilizers, ensuring that they are able to cover the grassroots, encourage the young Gen Z generation to register for PVC, and also go ahead to mobilize them to collect their PVC. This is another strategic way that must not be taken for granted. Very, very, very important. Engagement tools. 1, jobs, skills, tech, and SME financing agenda. Every potential presidential candidate must be able to table the jobs, skills, tech, SME financing agenda for the prospective voters. You have to let them know what you have on the table, what you have coming on board. When they have confidence that when they vote for you, they will have jobs, they will have skills, they will have SME financing through microfinance, then they will have the agility to be able to give their support. Digital organizing, offline community actions, yes. Digital organizing. We must be seen to be on the ground, organizing the grassroots, as well as documenting it. It's not enough to just have structure and abandon it. It has to be documented efficiently. Tone. What should be the tone of any potential presidential candidate? Hope plus competency, not anger alone. You can't just be demonstrating anger, demonstrating frustration. No. You are the hope of the people. So you must be seen to be radiating hope for the masses, showing their competency, leading from the front. Currently, there's a gap in life, there's a lacuna in the opposition figure, we don't have an opposition that is in the front giving us directive. So that era should end in 2025. Going into 2026, we're looking forward to having an opposition that will lead us from the front. In every activity we are taking, lead us from the front. It's very essential. We cannot afford to let this go. Number 6, regional strategy, reality-based. Every region have their reality. We must adjust to it and strategize according to the reality of such region. Not, for instance, not have issue of security, they have food crisis, they have agricultural problem because of the banditry, security, terrorism that is affecting the local farmers. They have issue of dignity. So all these have to be looked into, and you, as a presidential candidate, you give them reassuring hope of how you will be able to surmount and overcome these challenges when given the mantra, the mandate to lead from the front. Southwest have issue of economy, right? Federal fairness, governance competency. All these have to be told to the people on the grassroots on how you want to tackle this issue of economy, where there's a ravaging poverty, leading the young people into money ritual. All this, there have to be hope coming from the potential presidential candidates. Southeast, for instance, they've always been excluded from the scheme of things. They've always been excluded from every successful administration. How do you intend to bring them to be part of this Nigerian project? You have to give them the assurance of inclusivity, justice, economic reintegration. You have to be integrated back into the Nigerian system, where they are given equal opportunity to be able to aspire and make meaningful contribution towards the Nigerian project. South-South have issue of resource control, environmental degradation, and developmental challenges. South-South have been powering the Nigerian economy for years, yet living in obvious neglect, right? How do you intend to be able to give them the fair distribution of their resources? This has to be very spelled out and documented and agreed upon. These are the things that win the confidence of the voters. There is no miracle about it. No region should feel taken for granted. You don't bank on any region goodwill to take them for granted. Talking about the Middle Beltern region, they've always been excluded from the Nigerian projects. They are always remembered during election cycle and forgotten after election. I'm speaking because I'm one of the southeastern neglected Nigerian. We are one of the Middle Beltern neglected Nigerian. What are you, as a presidential candidate, bringing to my people in the Middle Belt? This has to be looked into. So we have to go back to the drawing board in terms, okay, Middle Belt, for instance, we have a fertile land, very productive in agriculture, but then the terrorism, the genocide have affected our rural farmers. How do you, as a presidential candidate, intend to restore peace in the Middle Belt? You have to tell us in clear terms, because the restoration of peace is our #1 agenda in the Middle Belt. And every presidential candidate that is coming on board must be able to convincingly tell the people of the Middle Belt how to overcome this quagmire of genocide and insecurity. So this has to be very, very well stated and documented, of course, agreed upon. So, number 7, elections integrity, legal preparedness. Start early. Election integrity, we have to start early. There is no time to start than yesterday. When we are fighting against a very clumsy and a very scheming opposition like Tinubu-led administration, you have to start early. You don't wait until when they bring the fight to your domain. Rather, you take the campaign to their doorstep. That will weaken their morale. So starting early is very important. Measure. How do you start early? Train polling unit agents nationwide. Yes, train your polling unit agents nationwide. Parallel vote tabulation, PVT, parallel vote tabulation. That is to say, an independent IRF have to be put in place. Of course, I understand there is an arrangement in that regard. So, a viable presidential candidate must be able to support this type of project that will bring about parallel vote tabulation in order to sensitize the entire global community that this is the state of results across Nigeria. Because we cannot trust INEC to give us the true situation of results, such that it happened in 2023 when we trusted INEC thinking they will give us, they will use the IRF, they will use the beavers and everything, but we're disappointed. So we no longer want to trust INEC. In that regard, there must be parallel vote tabulation to sensitize the general public about the state of voting across polling units across the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Legal teams on standby before election day. Legal teams must be seen to be up and doing. They have to be organized, stationed in all 774 local governments. In the event of arrest of any supporter, they have to go in and rescue such harassed supporter. No one should be left behind, suffer in the hands of the heartless police that may end up arresting them or soldiers. So the legal team have to be seen to be on ground, even though we have no any iota of plan to go to any court after election. Our authentic court is at the polling unit. So we ensure that vote counts. If the INEC fail to follow her own rules, we stop the voting process until they are able to follow their established laid down rules. I could remember vividly in 2015 when we were conducting the election as a polling unit officer. I was serving and I was posted as a PO to one of the polling units. And of course, we're not given original result sheets. The APC agents were so smart, they did not allow election to start. That should be the standard going into 2027. Any electoral officer that approach polling unit without original result sheet, without beavers, and without uploading results immediately after election, such election must not be concluded. The people must stand their ground to ensure that the INEC officials are forced to do the right thing. The ultimate policing on the day of election is the people. Don't be deceived. The police are just there to ensure law and order. But you don't depend on them. You are the ultimate soldier, the ultimate police that should ensure that the right thing is done at the polling units. So the job is you and I. We are responsible for this assignment. International and local observer engagement. Potential presidential candidates must be seen to be engaging potential international and local observers. You have to interview them, what are their challenges in each area that they can be supported so that they can carry out their assignment effectively. Because they are serving a very crucial role. Real-time results documentation. Yes, results have to be documented in real time using the parallel vote tabulation app that bring about real-time tabulation of results. You don't wait for INEC to tell you the announcement of results from a certain polling unit or a certain ward. The structure in those wards should have the mandate to upload the result in real time. In that way, you know the actual result before INEC even announces. Do not wait until results are announced to protest. Yes, for you to win against an incumbent that is bent on stealing votes, you don't wait until when INEC announces the result. Through the parallel vote tabulation, the independent IRF should be able to have narrated, uploaded, revealed the outcome of the election is very glaring in the eyes of the world. So you mobilize your structure nationwide. You don't wait until when INEC announce the result before you start protesting. If you begin to protest after announcement, they will have the opportunity to tell you, ask you again to go to court, which of course you and I know the result. There is no credibility in Nigerian courts currently, so you don't wait for that opportunity. Number 8, funding, transparency, and discipline. Funding, transparency, and discipline. Crowdfunding plus small donors. Yes, as a presidential candidate, you must not feel too big to demand for support. Nigerians are looking for opportunity to support credible candidates. You must lead the front by seeking for donation from credible sources to support your campaign, to support the political aspiration that you are leading. Transparent accountability to build trust. There have to be transparency. You have to be able to explain to the donors. They have to believe in your ability to be able to guarantee transparency. Periodic, weekly, transparent review of donations that have been received into the independent account have to be revealed to the general public so they know the state of the account and how donations are coming in and how they are being utilized. All these have to be revealed. That's transparency. Avoid money politics that undermines credibility. You don't go into money politics that undermine credibility. Number 9, state strategy. State strategy. Win before the presidency. Yes, you don't wait on the presidential election alone. You have to galvanize the House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly, the National Assembly, the House of Rep, the Senate, the governorship election. You have to be up and doing in supporting credible candidates to show interest, right, for the elections, because their support here and there will add value to your presidential outcome. So every potential presidential candidate must not see it as a burden, but see it as an opportunity to support foot soldiers that are also aspiring in different positions. Number 1, target key swing states. Yes, swing states have to be targeted and supported heavily to be able to ensure that it adds value to your presidential race. Win governorship and National Assembly seats. You have to win governorship and National Assembly seats. Strong down ballot presence. Boost presidential votes. So when you tailor it down from head to bottom, all votes according to your political party, being that you will have supported credible candidates to emerge through the process, then it will be easy to thumbprint from top to bottom, voting for your political party of choice. So this is very important. Number 10, discipline, massaging control and unity. Discipline, massaging control and unity. Kill internal sabotage. Don't allow any internal factor to lead to rancor. Try to manage situations. As a matter of fact, set up dispute management body, dispute resolution agent in your circle of allies. There must be dispute resolution body, right, that will handle crisis, because anywhere there is 2, 3 gathered, there must be crisis. As a matter of fact, Jesus had only 12 disciples, and there was a crisis. Yes, Judah sold Jesus. So in every gathering of human beings, there must be crisis. So set up a framework that will manage crisis litigations. So one voice is very key. One voice, one message. It is only when you are able to kill internal sabotage that you can achieve one voice, one message. No public infighting. It should not be seen among your circle of structure that there is an infighting. to the extent that it start going around and making it to social media posts and news platform. So such should not arise. With this mechanism of dispute resolution, all this will be effectively checked. Swift internal conflict resolution, like I've said, is very important. APC thrives when opposition self-destructs. Opposition should not be seen as destroying themselves. Bottom line, to defeat Tinubu APC in 2027, the opposition needs 1, unity; 2, credible leadership; 3, grassroots organization; 4, clear economic message; 5, election day vigilance. These are very, very, very paramount in order to be able to defeat Tinubu come 2027. Without unity and structure, no amount of anger can win an election. Without unity, without structure, no amount of anger, emotion can win election. So we must come together to work as a strong, united, suffering Nigerians who are looking and yearning for change. Thank you and God bless you. I remain your host on People's Parliament, Mr. Ako Christian Oche. I've made my honest submission, and I believe that this message will go viral to the various nook and crannies in the opposition circle, ensuring that they are able to listen to the voice of reason and taking a proactive action that will put the opposition on the roadmap to winning strategy come 2027. Thank you for standing by. Thank you for following through to this point. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, Problem Media TV. We'll be here to give you objective assessment of governance, politics, as we stage a fight into 2027. Be our fans by subscribing to the YouTube channel. And God bless you. Bye.